oh, it's fun to put together different pieces that come together. I want to share just a thought about this. I've read this book this summer, The Undocumented Americans by Carla Cornejo Villavicencio. I'll leave this out on the welcome table so people can take a look at it, and I'll also put it in my newsletter column next week so you can see the name of it. One of the things that Miss Carla taught me was about how migrant labor is the world's labor policy, and so how we think about that. And she taught me about undocumented workers at Ground Zero after 9/11. We know that the first responders were firemen and emergency medical folks, right? Those were the first responders. The second responders were undocumented immigrants. There was a kind of underground network of phone calls. Of course, we weren't texting each other in 2001, but there was an underground network of people who were undocumented and needed work. The city hired contractors, mostly Americans and Anglos, white, and the contractors hired subcontractors, many of them bilingual Latinx people with the golden ticket of American citizenship who could present themselves as friendly faces to other immigrants. We like you, we speak like you. And they would make the call to these folks. Vans drove from Queens out to Long Island, through Nassau and Suffolk counties, up and down the immigrant enclaves, looking for day laborers to bring to Ground Zero. The workers were mostly Eastern European and Latin American. Many of the women knew that area well because they cleaned the offices and apartments in Lower Manhattan for years. They knew they'd be called on to dust. There was so much dust. It has been hard enough to get health care, medical care for the Ground Zero first responders, for the people who worked on the books. But it has been next to impossible to get health care, medical care, follow-up care for the undocumented folks who worked down there, who had all of the same health and medical issues. This is a story from history. 9/11 is history. To illustrate that even today, undocumented folks, I'm trying to keep myself from saying undocumented workers, to not put workers on the end of it every time, because they are people. They are people who like to read books and take naps and have cats. They are people who like to make art and teach their children. They are people who pay taxes like we do for benefits that they never receive. They're people. So undocumented people who work. That's a little shift from my own language. This is a historical story to remind me of today, of what's happening. The great gratitude that I want to feel for undocumented people who are here for a better way of life. Our borders should be, people should have the right to go where they need to go and be able to do the work that they'd like to do, the work with dignity, and be cared for with health care, with reasonable considerations. Not only because their work is valuable, but because they are human beings. Because they are human beings. And so I think the labor movement helps us see how we band together and listen to each other, how we reach out beyond our comfort zone. Al, I don't imagine that the very first time you stood up at a rally, it was the most comfortable thing you ever did. I don't know. You've got the way of it. It takes some effort to organize. We do our work with Amos. That's organizing. That's going to people in different denominations than we are. They might talk about spirituality and religion. They might talk about things that we don't always do. We got to get out of the comfort zone to be in larger community. And this here is how we build the strength, the muscle to be active in the world. Few things that are worth doing can be done alone. All of us need all of us in community, in work, in education, in play, in times that are beautiful, and in times that are terrible. In times that are beautiful and times that are terrible that are so often the very same time. Our labor unions have given us a great history of solidarity. Let us live into it with honor